free college football picks, Week 13, Part 6. I'm Tony T here with our college football pick show here for Saturday's action. We conclude our coverage here for Week 6 with the 8 remaining games. Before we get to them, just a couple things. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free college football picks are updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports. We also have NFL, we have NHL, NBA, college basketball, World Cup, and more. It's a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel, thumbs up. Give us a like. Greatly appreciate it. Then visit Tony'sPicks.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing top cappers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers. Get signed up to some of our long-term passes. Hot cappers like Ramon and Mindy's been on fire. I've been doing well here in college football and NFL. Click the links to get signed up to our long-term passes. You'll find our premium picks here right in the center of the page. Our featured premium picks. Our best bets are here on the best bet tab. Each capper can release one best bet per sport per day. Many of them up there right now. And our $15 pick is promotional. Each capper can designate one of their picks on their card as a $15 premium pick just to introduce their service to new and existing customers. And of course, our 3-packs provide great value. Check them out. There are many up there right now on our page. And of course, the pick ticker. You can purchase picks a la carte. Choose a game you like, a la carte here on our pick ticker. Let you know about our promo code. You can save 20% off all premium pick packages. When you use that promo code TonyT at checkout, you can access our page by clicking the link in the description, then the All Cappers tab, and get signed up. Also love to hear from you guys, so post your picks in the comments below. And looking for cappers, you can apply over on the footer section of Tony's Picks. And our podcast. Receive every pick in podcast form. All shows also in podcast form. Available on all major platforms. Just search Tony's Picks. Let's get this one started. Tennessee versus Vanderbilt. College football pick here for Saturday. Tennessee fell to 9-2 with their defeat at South Carolina. Were pounded there in that game. Volunteers gained 507 yards with 152 rushing on 28 carries. On defense, they allowed 4 yards per run in the game. Cox with 453 passing on 38 attempts. Joe Milton took over for an injured Hendon Hooker. Hit on 50% of his passes with 13.5 yards per attempt. That 53-38 defeat. The Michigan transfer saw him up duty in 6 games with a 70% completion rate and 17.4 yards per attempt. He did pass for 6 touchdowns and no interceptions. Vanderbilt, they improved to 5-6 after their 31-24 home victory to Florida. Commodores gained 283 yards with 175 rushing on 46 attempts. Defensively, they held the Gators to 2 yards per rush with 400 passing on 43 attempts. Mike Wright completed 62% of his passes for 6.8 yards per attempt. He threw for 108 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. This season, Wright, a 58% completion rate with 7 yards per attempt. Commodores under in 4 or 5 balls, utilizing a backup quarterback, and Wright not accurate. The play here will be Tennessee and Vanderbilt under 64. Kansas versus Kansas State. College football pick. This one goes off here on Saturday. Kansas fell to 6-5 with their 55-14 home defeat to Texas. Jayhawks gained 346 yards in this one. 104 rushing on 30 carries. They surrendered nearly 7 yards per rush to the Longhorns with 112 passing on 22 attempts. Jalen Daniels completed 65% of his passes with 8.8 yards per attempt. He threw for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. This year, Daniels a 66% completion rate with 9.1 yards per attempt. Kansas State moved to 8-3 with their 48-31 road win at West Virginia. Wildcats gained 437 yards in this one, 143 rushing on 42 attempts. Defensively, they allowed nearly 5 yards per run to the Mountaineers with 250 passing yards on 28 attempts. Will Howard hit on 70% of his passes with 10.9 yards per attempt. He passed for 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. On the season, Howard a 65% completion rate with 9.1 yards per attempt. Past 3 games, Wildcats running for 3.9 yards per attempt. With Martinez injury, their run production has decreased. Past 3 games, Jayhawks moving the football for 475 yards, 6.5 yards per rush, 8.6 yards per attempt. The play here will be Kansas, set plus the 12. Pittsburgh versus Miami. College football pick Saturday. Pittsburgh moved to 7-4 with their 28-26 home victory to Duke. Panthers produced 310 yards with 120 rushing on 33 carries. Defensively, they held the Blue Devils to under 3 yards per rush with 290 passing yards on 45 attempts. Keaton Slovis completed 47% of his passes with 5.9 yards per attempt. On the season, Slovis a 58% completion rate with 7.4 yards per attempt. Miami fell to 5-6 with their 40-10 road win at Clemson. Hurricanes gained just 98 yards with 30 rushing on 24 attempts. On defense, they allowed over 4 yards per run to the Tigers with 240 passing on 36 attempts. Tyler Van Dyke, questionable with a shoulder injury. He has a 64% completion rate with 7.2 yards per attempt. He has missed 3 of his past 4 games. Ja'Carri Brown, his replacement, completed 46% of his passes with 4.1 yards per attempt in the game. He passed for 53 yards and an interception. On the year, Brown, a 57% completion rate, 5.1 yards per attempt. Past 3 games, Miami averaging 213 yards. Now, in this period, the Panthers' defense allowing 214 yards, 1.1 yards per rush. Panthers' offense in this span running for 3.6 yards per attempt. Slovis accuracy an issue as well. The play here, Pittsburgh and Miami under 43.5. Air Force and San Diego State. College football pick. This one goes off Saturday. Air Force 8-3, a 24-12 home win to Colorado State. Falcons posted 359 yards in the game on 71 carries. Defensively, they allowed 3 yards per rush to CSU with 179 passing on 24 attempts. Zeke Daniels threw only 2 passes in the game. They were incomplete. He did rush for 24 yards and on 9 carries. This season, Daniels a 47% completion rate, 9.7 yards per attempt. He does average 5.2 yards per rush. San Diego State here 7-4 after their 34-10 road win at New Mexico. Aztecs gained 459 yards in the game, 177 rushing on 38 carries. They limited the Lobos to under 4 yards per rush with 112 passing on 23 attempts. Jalen Maiden completed 60% of his passes with 11.2 yards per attempt. He passed for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. On the year, Maiden a 65% completion rate with 9.4 yards per attempt. Past 3 games, Falcons defense allowing 187 yards, 2.3 yards per rush. They have allowed 19 or fewer points in 5 straight games. Play here, Air Force -2. Oklahoma versus Texas Tech. College football pick Saturday. Oklahoma improved to 6-5 with their 28-13 home win to Oklahoma State. Sooners gained 434 yards in this one with 175 rushing on 34 carries. Defensively, they held the Cowboys to 3 yards per rush with 381 passing yards on 43 attempts. Dylan Gabriel hit on 50% of his passes with 6.5 yards per pass. On the year, Gabriel a 62% completion rate with 8.2 yards per attempt. Texas Tech sits at 6-5, a 14-10 road win at Iowa State. Red Raiders put up 246 yards with 105 rushing on 38 attempts. Defensively, they held the Cyclones to 3 yards per rush with 294 passing on 36 attempts. Tyler Schall hit on 71% of his passes with 6.7 yards per attempt. He threw for 141 yards and a touchdown. On the season, Schall a 58% completion rate with 7.2 yards per attempt. Sooners have covered 4 of their past 5 head-to-head. Sooners offense past 5 games averaging 453 yards, 5.5 yards per attempt. Their defense in this game, over this period, is allowing opponents just 4.3 yards per rush, 5.8 yards per pass attempt. Red Raiders in this period allowing 4.8 yards per rush and 8.4 yards per pass attempt. The player will be Oklahoma here at -2. Notre Dame versus USC college football pick Saturday. Notre Dame sits at 8-3 after their 44-0 home win to Boston College. Fighting Irish gained 437 yards, 281 rushing on 38 carries. Defensively, they held BC to under 2 yards per rush. Drew Pine completed 52% of his passes with 6.2 yards per attempt. He passed for 156 yards and a touchdown. This season, Pine a 62% completion rate with 7.5 yards per attempt. USC improved to 10-1 after their 48-45 road win at UCLA. Trojans produced 649 yards, 179 rushing on 38 carries. Defensively, they surrendered over 5 yards per run to the Bruins with 309 passing on 38 attempts. Caleb Williams, 74% completions in the game, 10.9 yards per attempt. He threw for 470 yards with 2 touchdowns and an interception. This year, Williams a 65% completion rate, 9 yards per pass attempt. Notre Dame has won 5 straight with a notable home win at Clemson by 21. Fighting Irish and Trojans over in 5 straight. Past 5 games, USC averaging 565 yards with 4.9 yards per rush, 10.1 yards per pass attempt. In this period, Notre Dame averaging 5.1 yards per rush, 8.1 yards per pass attempt. Trojans defense over this 3-game span, allowing 32 points a game to play here. Notre Dame and USC over 63. Washington versus Washington State college football pick Saturday. Washington improved to 9-2 with that 54-7 home win to Colorado. Huskies gained 575 yards with 280 rushing on 43 carries. Defensively, they held the Buffs to under 3 yards per attempt with 123 passing on 22 attempts. Michael Penix completed 61% of his passes with 7.4 yards per attempt. He threw for 229 yards and a touchdown. This season, Penix a 67% completion rate with 8.5 yards per attempt. Washington State improved to 7-4 with that 31-20 road win at Arizona. Cougars produced 354 yards with 161 rushing on 37 attempts. Defensively, they held the Wildcats to nearly 4 yards per rush with 357 passing on 46 attempts. Cameron Ward completed 69% of his passes, 5.4 yards per attempt. He passed for 193 yards and a touchdown. On the year, Ward a 64% completion rate, 6.7 yards per attempt. Huskies on the road allowing 448 yards, 4.7 yards per rush, 270 passing, 8.6 yards per attempt. Offensively, they run for only 3.8 yards a carry on the highway. Washington defense in their road games allowing 57% conversions on third down. Play here, Washington State +2. BYU and Stanford college football pick Saturday. BYU improved to 6-5 after that 52-26 home win to FCS school Utah Tech behind 676 yards. It used to be a Dixie College, we used to call them. Jaron Hall has completed 66% of his passes with 29 touchdowns, 6 picks, 8.4 yards per attempt. Stanford fell to 3-8 after their 27-20 road defeat to California. Cardinal put up 400 yards in this one, 129 rushing on 32 attempts. On defense, they surrendered over 5 yards per rush to the Golden Bears with 280 passing on 43 attempts. Tanner McKee completed 64% of his passes, 6 yards per attempt. He threw for 271 yards with a touchdown and interception. On the year, McKee a 60% completion rate, 6.8 yards per attempt. Past 3 games, Cougars averaging 532 yards, 5.5 yards per rush, 325 passing with 9.6 yards per attempt. Their defense in that period surrendering 252 yards passing, 8 yards per attempt. McKee has shown the ability to move the Cardinal through the air. The play here, BYU and Stanford over 57.5. That was our college football pick show here for Saturday. This was week 13, part 6. We got all of them done for Saturday. They're up on our channel now, so check them out. Make sure you like and subscribe, and visit tonyspears.com for our best bets for today. So check them out. Our live show, we have a live show here for you on the weekends. It's the morning steam with Roman and Mindy. They'll be live at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Full breakdowns here and picks from NBA, NHL, some college football, some college basketball, and some NFL. So check them out 9 a.m. Eastern Time on our channel. I'm Tony T, back later with some more picks.